So in this stone has got a tangential direction, but it is getting attracted towards the center of this circle, and hence neither this direction nor this, and it will move towards the circular path. And if you just leave up that circular path, you will see that it is going tangentially. That is what we have understood about the centripetal force, with its other name is central seeking force. All the planets are also getting attracted towards the sun in a similar manner. Earth is having the gravitational force. The moon is also attracted in a similar manner. Thereafter, we have seen about scientist Kepler, who has just done the observation, studied all the data which was there, and he has noticed that the motion of the planet, they follow certain rules, and he had explained with the help of the ellipse which has got two foci, f1 and f2, and he said that at one of the focus you will have sun. Imagine my pointer as sun. So this is sun. Yes. So here we have the ellipse. Elliptical path is the, you can say, the orbit of the planets. We can think of, say, sun is here. Say this is the sun. Sun is at one of the foci, and all the planets are moving in the elliptical path. So you can say this is the orbit of motion of the any of the planet. Now what is so special about the ellipse is that from the foci, if you take a distance of any point, it has got two foci, so the sum of the distance is always same, that is AF1 plus AF2 is equal to B, you take any other point, so BF1 plus BF2, you take any other point C, then it will be CF2 plus CF1, whatever, 1 or 2. So this sum total is always that is the speciality of the elliptical path, and all the planets, they move in this ellipse. So what is the Kepler's first law? The orbit of a planet is ellipse, with sun as at one of the foci. Out of the two, one foci, the sun is present. Okay, so this is how it will look like. Thereafter, we had discussed the Kepler's second law, which says that the square of its period of the line joining the planet and the sun sweeps the equal area in equal interval of time. So suppose AB and CD are the distances. This part AB and this part CD are the distances covered by the planet in equal time. Say you have taken a time, maybe you can say 7 days. So in 7 days the earth moved from here to here, and then in next after few days, if you observe again the same period of, it has moved this much. So this is the distance covered in equal time. That is, after equal interval of time, the position of the planet starting from A and C is shown here by B and point D, right? So you draw a straight line as AS and CS. So AS and CS, this is the straight line which you have drawn. This sweeps the equal area in equal interval, that is the area ASB, this particular area. This area is same as this area. That is was the Kepler's second law, right? So it sweeps equal area. What does the more thing you can observe? You can see here Here the path travel seems to be more, here seems to be less. And if you go very far from the sun, what you will observe, that the path trace is still less. Why it is so? So that the area, this area remains equal. That was what is found by Kepler. Now let us go towards the third law. Newton's third law says that the square of its period of revolution around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun. Now what do you mean by the mean distance? That is r. Say here you have the sun, here you have the say earth. Okay, so this is the earth. So what is the mean distance? Center of the sun to center of the earth. This is the distance. So sun से earth का distance you can say from midpoint of sun to the midpoint of earth. So the center point of the earth. So this distance, that is denoted by say small r. So let r be the average distance of a planet from the sun. And what is t? T is the period of revolution. So for the period of revolution in the case of earth is 1 year, right? So like that, whatever is there, so the square of its period, so we will write down t square is directly proportional to cube of the mean differences of the planet from the sun. So here this is the distance for r, and this is the complete period of revolution. Say for earth it is 1 year. So what is told, that t square is directly proportional to r cube of the mean distance between the sun and the planet. So if you wanted to remove the proportionality constant, it will be t square is equal to k into r cube. Take r cube on the other side, you will get t square upon r cube is equal to k. We just shifted this r cube on a left hand side. Right? Now Kepler's, no, he has told all this, but he doesn't have the proof. It was just by the observation. Okay. He was not able to understand why these planets are obeying this rule. But once the rule is stated, it was, very much help Newton in formulating the theory of gravitation. So I think the Newton should be thankful to Kepler कि उसको लॉ दे दिया था, उसको बस प्रूव करना था. Correct? So this is what is the Newton has explained the universal law of gravitation as that every object, you can consider even earth also as an object, or any object on the earth also as an object. So any object, say I am considering one object as my earth. So any object is attracting the other object. Say this is the other object, maybe moon, with a definite force. That means there is a force between them. And how is this force? It is directly proportional to the product of their masses. Means suppose the earth has got mass m1 and moon has got mass m2. So this force is directly proportional to m1 into m2, that is m1 n2. and it is inversely proportional. How we'll write down inversely? Now we'll write down in upon. Upon means now inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Now square of the distance. So what is the distance? The center of gravity of earth and the center of gravity of moon. दोनों को join कर दो. Sometimes some people write out this as a D. Sometimes these people write down as a R also. So D and R, both the notations are accepted, but here in the textbook they have used D, so I am using D. So you will have a formula that F directly proportional m1 m2 upon D square. That means it is inversely proportional to the distance between them now. So more distance, the force will be less. If the less distance, the force will be more. If the two things are heavy, the force will be more. If two things are light, the force will be less. Yes, that much you can understand from the formula itself. Now to remove the constant of gravity, constant of proportionality, we have used the constant. As it is, we are talking about gravity. Instead of K, I am using G. So F is equal to G m1 m2 upon D square. So this becomes the, then say, equation for the gravitational force. So F is equal to G m1 m2 upon D square, where G is the constant of proportionality and it is called as universal gravitational constant. It is called as universal gravitational constant. So what do you think? If I double the mass of the object, the force of the two object, what it will be? Suppose मेरी अर्थ इतनी थी, हाँ, then अभी मेरी अर्थ उससे डबल बन गई. So say this was m1. So now my new m1 will be 2m1 na. So what will happen? My force will be G into 2m1 m2 upon d2. So m1 m2 upon g2 is nothing but the old force, right? So my force will also become 2 times. So if you will double the mass, what will happen?
The force will be double.
Yes, the force will be double. So that is the main thing you should understand. Huh? Now let us talk about the distance. If we double the distance, पहले यहाँ था ना, now see it is shifted here. Okay, so D will become 2D. So what will happen to the force? I again write the formula. F is equal to m1 m2 upon d square. अब ये d क्या हो गया? D become 2D. So 2D the whole square. So what will be answer? G m1 m2 upon 4D square. Now this is the old force. G m1 m2 upon d square. तो क्या हो गया? Force is, new force is old force upon 4. So that means it is reduced to 1/4. Correct. That means the force decreased by the factor of 4. So in the exam they may give you some values and they will ask you to calculate. तो आपको याद रखना है, if the mass is double, the force will get double. But if the distance is double, the force will reduce by 1/4 part. Correct? So remember one thing, when we are taking a distance is from the center. So if it is a spherical object, circular है, spherical है, so at the center of that circle or the sphere becomes the center of the gravitation. But if the body is not spherical, it has got some irregular shape, then it is taken distances from the center of the masses. So you should know where the center of masses lies depending upon the object. Now we have seen that the value of G is gravitational force acting on the two unit masses kept unit distance away from each other. Everything becomes 1 1 1 1 means ये F भी 1 है, this M1 is 1, this M2 is 1, and this distance is also 1. Then what becomes the value of F? It will be equal to G, na? F will be equal to G because all these things are 1 1 1. So F will be equal to G. So what is exactly G? G is nothing but the gravitational force between them, between the two masses M1, M2, M2 when they are kept 1 meter away from each other. Correct? So depending upon the formula only we are able to say the things. Clear? Now we'll go ahead with the circular motion and the magnitude of centripetal force. For that, let us understand, children, this please, if you don't follow, you will to tell me. I will be explaining again. Consider a moving object in a circle with a constant speed. We have earlier seen that such motion is possible only when the object is constantly acted upon a force directed toward the center of the circle. So call this force as the centripetal force, and M is the mass of the object and V is the speed of the object. So M is the mass of the object, V is the speed of the object, and R is the radius of circle according to our easy notations. Now what will happen? The speed of the planet can be expressed in terms of period of revolution and the time, right? So period of revolution T is what? It is the distance traveled by the planet in one revolution. So how will you do it? Let us prove it mathematically. The distance travelled by a planet in one duration is nothing but its perimeter. See, this is the part. Okay, ये पार्ट है, यहाँ पे टच करने के लिए ये पूरा घूमेगा घूमेगा घूमेगा, अगेन इट विल कम बैक हियर, देन ओनली यू कैन से दैट वन rotation got over, right? So here the distance which is covered by it is nothing but the 2 pi r, where r is the radius. See, this becomes, understand, this is 2 pi r circumference. उतना ही डिस्टेंस कवर करेगा ना. सो व्हाट इज आर हियर? आर इज नथिंग बट द रेडियस ऑफ इट. करेक्ट. सो व्हाट इज वेलोसिटी? Velocity is nothing but the distance upon time. So distance is two pi r. So 2 pi r covered. What is the time taken? Time taken will be the one revolution, that is capital T. Correct. Now see the mathematical expression. So we have velocity is distance upon time, that is 2 pi r upon capital T. Capital T is taken as the period of revolution. Correct. So we have 2 pi r upon T. Two pi r upon T. Now see the manipulation which I am doing, children. Instead of V, as V ka value I got this, right? So I'll substitute here. This I substitute in place of V square. So V is nothing but 2 pi r correct. So you have mv square, so m into 2 pi r upon T. So we have here 4m pi square r upon T square. So that means what you got? 4 pi square upon r square. Okay. So 4 इसको ओपन किया ब्रैकेट, 2 का 4, पाई का पाई स्क्वायर, आर स्क्वायर का आर स्क्वायर. I'll write one step here so that you will follow. So it is m into 4 into pi square into r square upon T square upon T. Upon में क्या multiply में T in the denominator. Now what you do is, how we are going to multiply, children? All the things constant part we are trying to keep aside. So ये 4 है, ये pi square है, and now you know this is m. So we have 4m pi square. Correct. Now what you will do? 4mn square upon r square. Okay, do the comparison and then take other side. So 4m pi square upon r square. So it will become r cube upon T square. Because all the things are constant here. So this is Newton's third law. So Newton concluded that the centripetal force, which is a force acting on the planet, is actually responsible for the circular motion. It must be inversely proportional to the distance between the planet and the sun, and that is why if you are seeing the diagram here, so if it is very much near, see this diagram. It is very much near, then come on, square out the distances. Right? So we have here square of the distance between the planet and the sun. It inversely proportional to the. So Newton identified this force with the force of gravity and hence postulated that inverse square law of gravitation. So this is very much important. The gravitational force is much weaker actually as compared to the other forces which are present, but it controls the entire universe and it decides our future also. And this possible because of the huge masses of the planets, stars and the other constituents which are there present in the universe.